If you've ever splurged on a cheap drone that looked slick online, only to discover it wobbles on the first gust of wind or can't even focus on a face you're trying to capture, you know the kind of buyer's remorse that makes you swear off the hobby forever. The temptation to go cheap again is strong, especially when the price tag of a flagship model makes you wonder if you're really getting a smarter buy or just paying for a fancy logo. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. In the next few minutes I'll walk through why the DJI Mavic 4 Pro Creator Combo feels less like a gamble and more like an investment for anyone serious about aerial storytelling, and where it might still feel like overkill. First off, the biggest reason people hesitate is the sheer cost. A professional-grade camera on a drone, plus 3 spare batteries, a 128GB microSD card, a backpack, and a 2-year warranty, yeah, it adds up. The question most of us ask is, will it actually deliver the kind of footage that justifies that price tag, or will we end up with a glorified selfie stick? The short answer is that the Mavic 4 Pro's hardware does solve a lot of the pain points that make cheaper drones feel like a cheat sheet for disappointment. Let's start with the camera, because that's the heart of the package. DJI partnered with Hasselblad to give you a 100-megapixel 4/3 type CMOS sensor that can shoot 6K video at 60 frames per second with HDR. In practice, that means you can pull a still from a 6K clip and still have enough resolution to crop or reframe without losing detail, something you can't do with the 12-megapixel sensors you see on most consumer drones. If you're a wedding videographer, for example, you can hover above the ceremony, capture a sweeping 6K panorama, and later extract a crystal clear still for the album without pulling out a separate DSLR. The dual tele lenses add another layer of flexibility. You can switch to a tighter field of view without losing the crispness you'd expect from a dedicated telephoto lens. That's a real win for real estate agents who need a smooth, close-up shot of a property's facade from a safe distance. Stabilization is where the Mavic 4 Pro truly shines. The 360 Infinity gimbal provides 4-axis stabilization, which translates to buttery smooth footage even when you're battling gusts that would make a budget drone shake like a handheld cam. I tested it on a windy coastal cliff, and the footage held steady while the horizon stayed rock solid. For content creators who rely on consistent motion, think travel vlogs where you're moving from a bustling market to a quiet temple. The gimbal means you spend less time in post-stabilizing and more time telling the story. Autofocus confidence is another area where cheaper models stumble. The Hasselblad sensor uses phase detect AF that locks onto subjects in under a second, even in low-light situations. In a nighttime cityscape test, the drone could track a moving car's headlights and keep it sharp while the background stayed nicely exposed. DJI markets it as a 0.1 lux nightscape omnidirectional obstacle sensing system, and in practice that low-light detection gave me enough reaction time to avoid a lamppost at dusk. If you're planning night shoots, perhaps a music festival or a fireworks display, the sensor and obstacle avoidance give you a level of safety that cheap drones simply can't promise. Battery life often becomes the hidden cost of a drone purchase. Many entry-level models claim 20-30 minutes, and then you're forced to land, swap batteries, and wait. The Mavic 4 Pro pushes that to a realistic 51 minutes per charge under ideal conditions, and the combo includes 3 batteries. That translates to a full day of shooting with only a short break to swap cells, which is a game-changer for documentary crews who need to capture long sequences without constantly returning to a base camp. The only practical downside is weight. With 3 batteries, a 128GB card, and the backpack, you're looking at a heavier load than a pocket-sized drone. You'll need a sturdy tripod or a gimbal rig for ground shots, but the trade-off is more airtime and less downtime. Transmission range is another point that separates the pros from the hobbyists. DJI's O4 Plus transmission promises a 30-kilometer, about 18.6-mile, link with 10-bit HDR video, which means you can fly farther from the controller without losing signal or image quality. In a real-world test over a lake, the live feed stayed crisp and latency stayed low even at the edge of the advertised range. For landscape photographers who want to capture remote mountain peaks without climbing, that distance gives you a safe buffer. However, the range is only as useful as the controller's screen, and the RC Pro 2's 7-inch rotatable display, while bright and responsive, does add to the overall bulk. If you prefer to use a smartphone as a screen, you can, but you lose the built-in brightness that shines in direct sunlight. Now, who should actually buy this combo? If you're a working creator, commercial videographer, real estate photographer, or a serious content creator who needs a reliable, high-resolution aerial platform, the Mavic 4 Pro checks almost every box.